see him working, his family, his wife, his children, and it's an inspiration to see that type of family collective interest in something that is so, so important, and that is continuing the legacy of our Imam and carrying out those things that he has put in place for helping others. So I'm going to call up Brother Wallace Mohammed, also known as Deen Mohammed II, for a few comments.
Assalamu alaikum, and welcome Clara Muhammad School and Muhammad University alumni to the Mosque-sponsored Ministry of Imam Deen Muhammad 2010 Muslim Convention. Alhamdulillah. What can I say? That I was fortunate enough to attend the Sister Clara Muhammad School from the 3rd grade and graduate, 8th grade graduate from Clara Muhammad School, and to continue on through high school, and also graduate 12th grade Clara Muhammad School. And during that whole period of time, Imam Deen Muhammad was our leader. And for a great part of that time, he was also the principal of the school and very hands-on. During that period, we sat side by side, the parents, the teachers, and watched and witnessed Allah guide and bless Imam Muhammad with his great courage and unshakable will and tenacity to direct the community in the direction that he knew we needed to go. And also, he revolutionized the system of education with him personally directing and teaching. Only Allah could have done that, to give a man the courage who wasn't a school teacher himself, who only had so many college credits in English himself, but to have the insight and the mind that this man trusted Allah and loved Allah so much and knew that there was no book superior to the Holy Quran, and that there was no message superior to the message given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our holy book, the Quran. He took his knowledge and what he experienced, learning, watching one of the greatest men of our time, his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, coming from his small, humble background, a poor son of a sharecropper in the poor rural South during a time where African Americans were still being treated unfairly in this country and given second-class education and really being discouraged from doing anything for themselves, and depending on white race or the society for everything. So Imam Muhammad, he came in, and I heard Dr. Yassin mention the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I think he was wise, my father, in not sending me to Clara Muhammad schools until he took the reins. Because I knew, me being his firstborn son, that I was his little I guess, his project, you know. Because that's how I viewed my son. When my daughter was born, I said, wow, man, I said a lot of things, I just wanted to make her a little me. I said, but she's a girl. And I remember telling her one day, I saw she was growing up, I said, man, and I don't know why I said this. I said, and she looked at me and she understood what I was saying. I said, man, I'm going to be sad when you turn into a girl. A woman, that's what I said. I said, I'm going to be sad. Because I really enjoyed being with her. And I got that from my father, So, looking back, he was wise keeping me out of the University of Islam. Because he knew what he had given us and he knew what he had taught us. And he spared me from coming home with a lot of confusion and questions. He allowed me to remain innocent and to learn under the protection that he experienced. Similar protection. When I came into the school, was introduced and started mixing up in association with members of the Nation of Islam. Sheikh James Shabazz was still around. his father's mission so much that I'm sure that by them telling him that he was born, so as soon as he could understand the English language, I'm sure he was analyzing his father's work and studying how he could build upon it and improve it. So I remember Imam Mohammed coming to the teachers and saying, the students had already were showing respect, saying, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And this was a practice that was common, and as Yassine said, it was admired. But if there are any teachers here in the audience, you all recall Imam Mohammed going a step further and said, no, we should stop saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. He did it first in our home. He said, don't say yes, sir, and no, sir. That sounds too formal, you know. He said, say yes, dad, and yes, mom. And we do it today. And when you say that, you can hear the love and in the voice of the child and the connection between child and parent. And so he did this. He took this to the school, and he had us saying, yes, teacher, and no, teacher. Yes, yes, teacher Rob. She's bowing her head. They're witnessing to that, and that's so wonderful. When I went to my son's school, he goes to Rich South Public School in South Suburb near Chicago, and I heard the students saying, yes, teacher, and no, teacher. I wanted to stand up and jump out of my seat and shout and say, my father taught y'all that. Do y'all know who Imam Mohammed is? But I think I might have put my hands down on the side of the seat to make sure I didn't get up. You know, so I said Allahu Akbar. And I see signs like this all over. We don't know just how blessed we are. The world is picking up Imam Muhammad's language, and I tell a lot of people this to this day. I stand behind it, I put my life behind it. That the world was dead. The life had become stagnant. Politics, religion was failing. Everything was failing. And the media and the commercial world and popular culture had just run away. Nobody was listening. And even the popular culture, they were looking for ways to get attention of the people. Now I watched them change style. Imam Muhammad started tying a handkerchief on his head. You didn't used to see people, it became a style. They were hanging in the beauty shop before then. Now they hanging on racks, people wearing handkerchiefs. The prayer movement where they were wearing the farmer jumpsuit. And I thought my father, he used to embarrass us, walking around with his shirt unbuttoned and the cut-off dress pants and the tube socks and dress shoes. And I said, look at this man. He put on a farmer's outfit and a rag on his head. And next thing you know, the whole society is doing it. And without the conscious awareness that he started. And another thing I tell people, when I used to introduce my friends, would introduce me and say, y'all know Elijah Muhammad? That's his grandson. I say, yeah. And as the years passed, I always say, y'all know man, Deen Muhammad, Wallace Deen Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's son? They would say, yeah. When the years came, they would have to pause, and then I would see people pause even longer. And I said, we heard of Elijah Muhammad. Well, my father's his son. And so they would pause. So now what I say, because a lot of people don't know who he is. The shaitan knows the power of the message given to him. So the best thing he could do is he can't trick you into, once you hear Imam Muhammad, unless you're crazy or a total, just a devil, I hate to say that, you're not going to reject his message. You're going to appreciate him, you're going to love him, and in your heart, silently, that you're going to know that you got a friend out here with a positive message. So a lot of people